So, hello everybody. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Tiara Stefan. I am the product marketing coordinator on the QGIve team. I'm also joined by Justin Cook. He's the director of demand gen here at QGIve, and Brittany Bedford, who is a customer success manager here at QGIve as well. So today I will be going over some tips and tricks for how to use text fundraising to engage your donors and event attendees during your fundraisers. So a few housekeeping notes before we get started. We are recording the webinar, so everyone will receive an email tomorrow afternoon with a link to the session and some additional resources as well. Please feel free to use the chat for any general discussion and to talk with your fellow fundraisers on the webinar today. If you have any questions, we'd love to hear them. You can go ahead and add those into the Q&A tab in the chat, and we'll answer them at the end of the webinar. If you're having trouble with the Q&A tab, no worries, just drop your questions in the chat. We'll keep track of them and make sure to answer them at the end as well. If you use social media, please feel free to share any highlights or your favorite takeaways from the webinar and give QGIve a follow. So like I said, my name is Tiara Stefan. I'm the product marketing coordinator here at QGIve. I've been with QGIve for about 2.5 years, and my specialty is researching fundraising best practices and helping nonprofits level up their fundraising game. Outside of work, you can often find me at a concert, watching the latest movies, playing trivia with my friends, or just hanging out with my 2 senior dogs. So let's get into it. Today, we're going to take a look at text fundraising. We'll look at why text fundraising is such a great fundraising tool, how to use text fundraising for your campaigns and fundraising events. We'll look at some text fundraising best practices and a couple of text fundraising examples to inspire you guys. And then we'll get into some Q&A. So first of all, what is text fundraising? Text fundraising is an easy way to reach your donors wherever they are, whenever is convenient for them. It's basically raising funds over text by sending donation asks straight to your donors' phones. So when people talk about text fundraising, they might be referring to a couple of different things. So the first is text to donate. With text to donate, your organization will set up a short code, a campaign keyword, and a mobile giving page. So when your donors feel inspired, they can text the campaign keyword to the short code and then receive a link to your mobile giving page where they can make a donation. In some cases, they can also include the amount they'd like to give with their keyword text, and the amount they've pledged will already be filled out on the donation form for them when they click the link. So it's a really, really easy way to gather donations from your donors. The second option is bill to carrier or text to give. With this text fundraising format, you'll also set up a short code and a campaign keyword, but in addition to that, you'll also set a predetermined donation amount. This is usually anywhere from $5 to $50 and increments of $5 to $10. When your supporters text the keyword to the short code, the predetermined donation amount will be billed to your donor's cell phone bill by their carrier. So instead of donating directly to your organization, the phone carrier will process the donations and then transfer the total donations to your organization. The third text fundraising format is outbound text. So this can be a really important part of your fundraising strategy. It's a way to reach your donors directly through their phone. So it's very personal, very direct. You can send a variety of things like links to newsletters, reminders about upcoming events your donors have registered for, and any other short communications that might be appropriate to send over text. So for the purposes of this webinar specifically, we will be discussing text to donate and outbound text fundraising. So before we really get into the nitty-gritty of it all, we can go ahead and take a look at text fundraising in action. So if you have your phone nearby, go ahead and pull it out and give this a try. If you don't have your phone handy, you can feel free to try this out tomorrow when you receive the slides. But here's a live example of QGIve's text to donate tools. So this is what you'll want to do. You'll want to compose a text. It should read QGIve demo text. You can also add your donation amount and then your first and last name. You want to send this text to the short code, which is 50155. And then when you receive the text message, you click on the link that'll send you to a donation form, and you can use the demo credit card information shown here. Again, this is a demo credit card, so no real money will be spent. But this is just a really easy way to take a look at what QGIF's text to donate tools look like. When you've done that, feel free to go ahead and let me know in the chat. But if you don't have your phone handy, here's an example of what it looks like. You can see there, because they filled out the donation amount, when they go to the donation form, it's already pre-filled out with that $50 donation amount. All you need to do is enter in your credit card information, and then you'll receive a confirmation page and then a thank you text as well. So let me know if it works for you guys in the chat. But yeah, feel free to give it a try. Let's see. Awesome. Well, it looks like it's working. Great. Awesome. Hopefully that gives you guys a good example of what text to donate looks like. So now that we've kind of taken a look at that, we can get into it. So let's talk about why text fundraising is a great tool. You might be wondering, why might text fundraising be good for your organization? There's a variety of reasons. The first being that text fundraising is a super engaging way of raising funds. Mobile phones are just the most utilized device by people around the world, and that includes your donors. They often go with your donors wherever they go, whether they're stepping out the door to run errands or just relaxing on their couches in their living rooms. So to capture their attention, you need to meet them where they are, even when they're on the go. And that can easily be done through text fundraising. So some statistics here: 91% of donors own a smartphone. They're just the most popular device. And donors look at their phones around 80 times a day. So when you send a text message to them, 90% of the time, donors will read your message within the first 3 minutes of it being sent. That's a really, really high open rate. So on average, we also see that $137 is given through the average text donation on the QGIF platform. And over the last year, text fundraising audiences have also grown about 26%. We consistently see these high growth rates in text fundraising as a marketing channel for nonprofit organizations. So these high engagement rates and the average donation amounts, all of this together, they just make text fundraising a hidden gem of a marketing channel. It's also super popular with some of your donors. So text fundraising is a great way to access specific donor groups. QGIF conducted a study to find out what your donors' preferred giving channels were. It's called the Generational Giving Study, and we're actually keep coming out with an updated version of it soon, so keep an eye out for that. But in this study, we found that 10% of donors in both the United States and Canada preferred to give by text over email, social media, direct mail, phone calls, and any other giving method. In particular, we see that the younger generations prefer text fundraising. So that's the Gen Xers, Millennials, and Gen Zers. And this kind of comes as no surprise because younger generations tend to adopt technology faster. Younger generations also like receiving updates more frequently from the nonprofits that they donate to versus older generations. So this makes outbound text a really easy way to keep them engaged. On the other side of the spectrum, baby boomers tend to not prefer text fundraising. So you can stick to more traditional methods to engage them, like direct mail and phone calls. But that's not to say that you should write off text fundraising entirely. A lot of baby boomers have experience with text giving. About 27% of baby boomers have had experience giving via smartphone or tablet. That's a lot of information to kind of take into account. But a quick note here, you shouldn't assume how donors want to be communicated with. It's best to ask them how they'd like to hear from you. So whether that's a box that they tick on your donation form during their first interaction with your organization, or maybe a keyword that they text to subscribe to specific texts from your organization, you want to give your donors options and let your donors opt into the communications that you send out. The next reason why text fundraising is so great is that it's just a really versatile tool. You can pair text fundraising with a variety of fundraising campaigns. So whether you're hosting an event or just planning an online giving campaign, text fundraising can be really useful for all of these things. So for those year-round fundraising campaigns, you can use text fundraising to send general appeals. You can also update donors on your nonprofit news and your campaign fundraising progress. And because text fundraising is so direct and personalized, it's a great way to engage those lapsed donors. It's also really great for giving days and year-end fundraising campaigns. So Giving Tuesday is a great example of a giving day where you might want to use some text fundraising. Because it's so direct, it's great for those urgent, time-sensitive campaigns. So when you're wanting to raise money in a short amount of time, you can use text to send your donation asks directly to your donors in the moment. And then it's also really great for fundraising events. So we'll specifically be focusing on those events today and explore how your organization can use text fundraising to engage event attendees and participants. So events and text fundraising just make a really great pair. And so we're going to look at how you can communicate with your audiences before, during, and after your event, as well as provide you with some tips for each type of event, including those standard fundraising events, peer-to-peer campaigns, and auction events. So first, we'll kind of go over a high-level text fundraising communication plan. So whether you're hosting a virtual, in-person, or hybrid events, you need to engage your donors during every single stage of the event process. So you can use text fundraising, for example, to invite donors to events, to keep them engaged during the events, and then also continue to encourage ongoing support afterwards. If you're hosting multiple events throughout the year, here's a tip. Don't overlap communications for different events. It can cause some confusion with your donors. They might not know what text belongs to what event. So if you have multiple events going on in the same timeline, decide which one text fundraising makes the most sense for, or find a way to make it less confusing for your donors if you really want to use text fundraising for both. But try to avoid it if you can. So your first text you might want to send about 2 to 3 months ahead of your event. You want to use multi-channel marketing to reach a majority of your donor base. So like we said before, text fundraising is a really great way to reach those younger donors, but for your other donors, you also want to use email, direct mail, phone calls to invite them to your event, raise awareness of your event, spread the word. Don't place all your eggs in just one basket. Make sure to spread out your event promotion efforts over a variety of marketing channels. Then, before your event, about every 2 to 3 weeks, you want to keep your communications regular, but don't inundate your donors with text messages. It's really likely that your donors receive a lot of text messages every day. I'm sure you guys all know you receive tons of text messages every day if you have a phone. So be timely with your messages. Even though 11 p.m. might be a time when people aren't receiving a lot of text messages, you don't want to send your message then. People are trying to get to bed. You know what I mean? So make sure to be timely about when you send your text messages, and don't inundate your donors with too many texts. During the day of your event, you can use text fundraising as an important tool for communicating about your schedule. This is really great for some time-sensitive communications, some event changes that you need to communicate in the moment. Text fundraising is just really useful for all of those scenarios. Then after your event, you can continue to use text fundraising to update your donors on how your event went, how much money you raised, and any other post-event communications you want to send them. A special note here, because events vary based on the size of the event and who you're inviting, use the timelines here, but tailor them to your needs. These are just general best practices that you should modify to your unique event. So if this works exactly for the event that you're hosting, great. If not, feel free to do some research, figure out what works best for your organization. So now we'll be diving a little bit more into these text types and getting a little bit more specific. So before your fundraising event, you want to send a few texts out to your organization or to your audiences to get them excited for the event and to encourage registration. So here's an idea of what that stream of text will look like. Your first message you can send about 3 months ahead of your event. So this can serve as like an event announcement and a save the date. You want to include basic information in this message, like the date and location of your event, and any other pertinent info you might already have that far out, like the theme of your event. So here's an example of that. We have the Dream Team Gala. It's being held on May 15th at Bonnet Springs Park. So date and location, name of the gala, and then an inclusion of a link to the event page. Your second message you want to send about 2 months ahead of time. You can include something special about the event here, like a sneak peek of the entertainment or the speaker lineup at your event to entice your supporters to show up and sign up. You can send a final call here as well for early bird discounts or provide your supporters with some limited time promo codes. As always, you want to make sure to include a link to your registration form so that donors can actually sign up from your text. So here's an example of one of those texts, again, reiterating the date and what the event is, and then kind of providing a sneak peek of some of the live music at the Dream Team Gala. There's also a shout out there for the early bird discount, and then a link to the registration page. With your third message, you want to send this about 1 month ahead of the event. With this message, you kind of want to create a feeling of the fear of missing out, that FOMO feeling, that sense of urgency. You've got to come to this event. It's going to be great. If you don't, you're going to be missing out on a great time. So build on the time-sensitive nature of your event to increase those registrations. If you have a deadline for registrations, make sure you include that cutoff date information or mention any extensions if you've implemented any of those. If you have limited space, you can also utilize this method as well. Just let your supporters know how many spots your event has left and then watch them fill up. So here's an example of that. The Dream Team Gala is almost here. It's coming up so quickly. So get your tickets now before they run out. And then again, a link to the registration page. With your fourth message, you'll want to send this about 2 weeks ahead of time. This can go to people who have already registered your event, and you want to send maybe some instructions to registrants about the flow of the event. So for example, if you have an incentive for getting attendees checked in early, maybe you're offering them an extra raffle ticket or a free drink in line. You want to communicate this information and then encourage your attendees to get set up for check-in. So here's an example of that, offering an extra raffle ticket for people who check in early, and then a link that they can click to get checked in. If you have anybody that you've noticed hasn't opened the text or hasn't taken the action that you've put in the text, you can resend these instructions at a regular cadence leading up to the event, maybe a week before, 3 days before, and then the day of your event is what we recommend. Now let's talk about text fundraising during the day of your event. So along the same lines as drumming up excitement, you want to make sure to communicate with your registrants on the day of the event to keep them updated on important event details. So for example, if there are special parking areas or instructions for how to check in quickly, you want to make sure you tell your registrants about these important pieces of information. If you have a virtual component to your event, so you're hosting a hybrid event, you want to segment your send lists between in-person and virtual participants. For me on a personal level, I can definitely attest that this is really important. One of these examples is that I love keeping up with my favorite musicians and subscribing to their text alerts to make sure I know when they're next coming to town. But if I'm getting text messages for concerts in Houston and not Denver, which is where I live, I'm definitely going to unsubscribe. So you want to avoid having that happen with your donors and event attendees. So by segmenting your text message send list, everyone's only going to receive the information that's relevant to them. Your event participants won't feel spammed with information, and you'll also avoid confusing anyone. So in-person attendees don't really need a link to the live stream for an event they're attending, and virtual participants don't need to know where to park for an event they're attending from their couch or their living room. Virtual attendees also need to know information like where the event will be streamed and how they can interact with other virtual attendees. So you want to send links to everything your virtual attendees will need. With QGIV, segmentation is possible with contact lists in our outbound text package. So you can post your keywords for both your in-person and virtual contact lists on your event website to let your attendees know ahead of time what keyword to text to receive alerts specifically for the event experience that they've signed up for. During your event, you can still use text fundraising to send donation appeals and keep your attendees on the same page about when certain things are happening. So this can be really helpful if your event venue is large or maybe if you have multiple event components happening in different places or at different times. Your attendees, you want to let your attendees know, for example, when a performer is coming up or when a raffle drawing is about to start, and you can schedule those outbound texts ahead of time to remind your attendees when key event times are coming up without having to worry about making sure the texts go out at the right time during your event manually. So that way you can enjoy your event and focus on what's important without having to stay by your laptop the entire time and just make sure that those texts are going out at the right time. You can also put up a live screencast during your event with your keyword and short code displayed to show off your fundraising progress and see a live feed of donations as they come in during your event. Outbound text can also be really helpful for bringing in sponsors. You can include an outbound text shout out as an option for your event sponsorship packages to entice those potential donors to sign on to support your event. If your sponsors maybe have a booth at your event or they're sponsoring a portion of your event, you can also send text messages out to boost your event attendees' awareness of their sponsorship and encourage them to stop by their booth. After your event, you can continue to use text fundraising for your donor retention efforts, to thank your attendees for coming, and provide an update on your event. So it's really great for event wrap-up. Once you've completed your event reconciliation and you're ready to share the results of your event, you can craft a follow-up message that you'll send to your entire audience. And remember to take this as an opportunity to also thank your attendees and donors for coming and giving. Text isn't the best place to send a major wrap-up communication that's multiple paragraphs long with all of this information. But if you create a blog post with all of the event details, you can send a quick thank you message with a link to the blog post. You can also encourage donors to continue to stay involved by maybe also including a link to your calendar for your upcoming events, or send them links to information about the initiatives that they help to fund during your event. You can also set up automated reminders for people that have made pledges during your event. So during your fundraisers, some of your attendees might have made pledges to donate a certain amount, but maybe they haven't completed their actual donation quite yet. They might have been having too much fun at your event, or they didn't have their credit card information at the ready in the moment. Whatever it is, you want to make sure that they take those steps to actually give to your organization. So with automated reminders, you can send a gentle nudge to those event attendees to follow through on their pledges. So you can set those reminders to send automatically at a cadence of your choosing. We recommend 1 day after your event, then 3 days after your event, and then 7 days after your event if they still haven't completed that pledge. So you just want to make sure that they follow through on that. Now we can talk about text fundraising specifically for peer-to-peer fundraising. Peer-to-peer fundraising empowers donors to raise funds on behalf of your organization. Donors that choose to fundraise can also use the power of text fundraising tools to reach out to their networks of friends and family and coworkers to raise money for your organization. So your organization can start off with text fundraising, using it to encourage donors to sign up for your event and to raise money. You can follow the same event strategy that we mentioned earlier, but with peer-to-peer fundraising, you want to make sure to give everyone ample notice before your peer-to-peer campaign gets started so they can prepare to start fundraising early. Peer-to-peer fundraising takes some preparation, so make sure you just give yourself that extra time to recruit donors and make sure that they know the deal when it comes to being a fundraising participant. You can also use text fundraising to provide donors with resources to help them raise money. So one of those resources would be your nonprofit story. But the difference with the spiel that you already have set up versus text fundraising is that you want to find an effective way to tell your story over text, which means keeping it short and snappy. You might have to make some edits, but make sure that you've got a very clear, coherent message about what your nonprofit story is that would be effective to tell over text. You can also send your fundraising participants text message templates and some text fundraising best practices as well. Your fundraisers aren't professional fundraisers like you, so you want to give them the tools that they need to succeed when they're going out into the world and asking their networks for donations on behalf of your organization. You and your fundraiser should also be able to send segmented communications as well. You don't want your donors to receive text messages specifically meant for your fundraising participants, and sending your fundraising participants messages meant for your donors isn't going to be that helpful for them either. So sending out those segmented communications can be really helpful for peer-to-peer fundraising. So text fundraising for auction events. At your auction event, you want your donors to be busy chatting, enjoying the entertainment, and placing bids on items. That's the main reason we're all here, right? So while they are focused on your organization, it's really easy for them to miss important updates throughout the event, making text fundraising a really great way to keep these guests updated. One of those scenarios that you could use text fundraising is to inform your participants about bidding start and end times. And if you have a live auction start time as well. If you don't already have these timings specified ahead of time, during your event rehearsal, you want to take note of how long it takes for each event, for each portion of your event to get started, and then schedule those text messages ahead of time to send out automatically during the night of your event. You can also use text fundraising to highlight underperforming auction items and fund-a-need items during your event. So sometimes you just have a sea of really great auction items. You just have those couple items that everybody's really into. So it can be really easy for donors to overlook some of your other exciting auction items as well. Highlighting those hidden gems over text can be a great way to drive bids and ignite those really friendly bidding wars that are going to raise more money for your organization. Going along with that, fund-a-need items sometimes fall to the wayside when there are some really exciting auction items up for grabs. So giving those fund-a-need items a little bit of extra attention over text is a great way to let donors and auction participants know that that's a great way to support your organization as well as bidding on items. You can also pull up your keyword on a live screencast with a fundraising thermometer to encourage pledges and donations. Having that live feed of donations rolling in with names of donors is that automatic public recognition that can motivate others to make a donation themselves and see their name up there. So now let's talk about some text fundraising best practices. To set yourself up for some success, these are some best practices to keep in mind. The first goes with pre-event planning. When it comes to pre-event planning, you can plan ahead and minimize disruptions during your event by having a communication plan already in place. You can utilize the power of your text fundraising platform to make this process easy and simple. So for text messages that you want to send on the day of your event, you want to create those text messages ahead of time. Craft and hone your messaging while you make your communications plan, and also take the time to decide how many text messages you want to send during your event and when. Again, you don't want these messages to interrupt the flow of your event and distract donors. So deciding how many text messages you want to send out ahead of time ensures that everybody is focused on the event, and you're using the text messages to let them know about things that are coming up, the flow of your event, any information that might be helpful to send via text. You can draft your approved text messages in your text platform. And then if your text platform offers it, you want to set them to send automatically throughout your event. So you can focus on the important things. You don't have to stand by your laptop and make sure things are going out at the right time. Ahead of time, you can also create text message templates that you can create and send quickly if there's anything that you anticipate happening at your event or anything that might go wrong. So let's say you have an outdoor event, a storm is approaching, and you've got to move your event indoors. In an emergency like that, text fundraising is a great way to let your donors know, hey, we're moving indoors, this is where to go. You can also use text message alerts for, let's say you have a store with a bunch of items that you're selling. You've got that one item that you just know is super popular with your donors and will sell out quickly. Instead of having your donors wait in line at the store for forever, only to get to the front and find out that that item is out of stock, you can send that text message with the out of stock alert so that they can spend their time enjoying your event instead of waiting in line for an item that they can buy later when you're back in stock. You can also use text fundraising to send out those final appeals. So let's say we're getting to the end of your event. You just need that little push to reach your goal. You can use text fundraising to send out that final appeal, let your donors know, hey, we're so close to reaching our goal, and you'll watch those donations roll in. You also want to work to choose simple keywords. This is a must when it comes to text fundraising. You want to make it as easy as possible for your donors to initiate the donation process, and then also eliminate any confusion that might arise with the text fundraising process for people that have never used it before. There are a few hurdles that you might want to consider with text fundraising. So we've all been in that situation where autocorrect maybe doesn't catch what you're trying to say, or just struggles with some unusual spellings in your conversations with friends and family. So with choosing your keyword, you want to make sure that autocorrect works well with it. You're not autocorrecting your keyword to a word that isn't your keyword. It just makes it so much harder for donors to make that donation. You also need to keep in mind that donors might forget or misspell the keyword. And with a long keyword, that can especially be the case. Long keywords are also just really time consuming. Typing it out takes a while. Again, you want to make it as easy as possible for your donors to initiate the donation process and follow through. So here's some do's. You want to choose some simple short keywords. Longer keywords just provide more opportunity for misspellings. They're also easier to forget. In order to do this, you want to use acronyms or abbreviated spellings where possible to eliminate the issue of long keywords. You also want to keep in mind that a lot of phones will automatically capitalize the first letter of words. So using natural text pacing, if your text keyword is case sensitive, can really help eliminate the issue of donors not being able to use text fundraising. You also can tie the keyword to your event or your campaign. This makes it a lot easier for donors to remember the keyword and kind of ties the theme of your event with text fundraising all together. Next, you want to make sure to test your keywords ahead of time. So to start out with, you probably want to test it on your own device. That way, if it doesn't work, you don't have to bother your friends and family yet before you fix it. You also want to make sure to test your keyword out on both an Android device and an iPhone. It's likely that your donors either have an Android phone or an iPhone, so make sure to test your keyword out on both devices to just make sure that no problems arise. And then you can go to your friends, your family, and your coworkers to help you test these out. So these are a few things that you want to look for when you're testing keywords. The first is, did you or others struggle to enter the keyword? Did autocorrect mess it up? Did anybody forget the keyword? If any of these problems arise with your testing group, it's more than likely that your donors or event attendees will also face the same problems. So ironing these issues out ahead of time will ensure that your text fundraising campaign goes super smoothly when you're ready to launch. The next best practice is to just write your keyword down. For your text fundraising efforts to be successful, you need to make sure that your donors know what your keyword is. If you don't write your keyword down for donors or keep it displayed or easily accessible somewhere, they won't know. They can simply text your organization to donate. So wherever you display your keyword, make sure to also include the short code your donors will need to text to and any other pertinent information, like can they text a donation amount with the keyword? That's important information to give them. So here are a few places where you can display your keyword for your donors. You can display them in those multi-channel marketing efforts leading up to your event. So including them on an event brochure or an event flyer, in your social posts promoting your event, in your fundraising emails, or even on your direct mail appeals. During your event, you can display your keyword, short code, all that information on a screencast, especially when you're sending out one of those in the moment text appeals. You also want to include it maybe on your event signage and in your event program so that no matter where your event attendees look, they know that they can text to donate to your organization. The next best practice is to use it wisely. Text communications are great. They're highly personable. They provide a quick and engaging way to interact with donors, but they're very easy to overuse and be intrusive. So with great power comes great responsibility. I think we've all heard that. Your donors consented to let you text them. That's power. Don't overdo it. So when using text fundraising, make sure to communicate with donors occasionally and don't inundate your donors with texts. People get tons of texts every day. Anybody have a super active family group chat? Maybe one with coworkers and friends. Maybe you've walked away from your phone to come back to it with a bunch of texts and a whole conversation you missed out on because you were in a meeting, or maybe you're just walking your dog. It's happened to me. It's happened to me. So as much as you don't want your texts to be buried under that active family group chat, you don't want to be invasive either. So be sparse with, or regular and sparse with how much you text your donors. You can use text to communicate important information, maybe related to events and campaigns, and to send occasional fundraising appeals as well. Sending texts with information that isn't as important, like us on our Facebook page, or just sending too many donation appeals can really turn donors off to letting you text them at all. So make sure to be smart with how many texts you're sending out. You also want to make sure that your donors are opted in to receive communications. They've given you permission to text them, and you want to let them know as well the frequency of the text that they can expect. Giving your donors that kind of transparency can really build trust with them, and that boosts donor retention. So this is a really, really great best practice to put in play when you're using text fundraising. So let's go over a few text fundraising examples that might give you an idea of how text fundraising can fit in with your events, with your fundraising campaigns, and maybe a little bit of inspiration for using text fundraising for your organization. The first is Bert's Big Adventure. So this is a nonprofit that provides year-round support through various initiatives for children with chronic and terminal illnesses and their families. This includes a 5-day journey to Disney World. So they host an annual event called Noon to Night at a community called Avalon. And here are a few key takeaways from their event. They had a really simple keyword, magical. It's easy to remember. It goes with their organization's mission, with the theme of the night, and autocorrect also recognizes it as a word, so you're less likely to have those problems when it comes to text fundraising. During the time leading up to their event, they also included the keyword in their appeals. So the example shown here is from one of their social posts on Facebook, so donors can start donating using text even before the event begins. Aside from text fundraising, they also used some great videos and images to promote their event. They introduced donors to the kids in their program via video who are participating in their fashion show. So when donors see the kids that are benefiting from their donations, it makes them more likely to donate. They can see your mission. They also included some fund the need options and included a silent auction along with their fashion show, just giving them more avenues to raise more money. Their event, they promoted their event so well that the local press even picked it up and promoted it for them. And through all of this, they raised a little over $30,000 solely through text fundraising. That's quite a significant amount. So text fundraising really worked out for them. The next example is Junior Achievement of Northern California. They paired their virtual gala with text fundraising and exceeded their $300,000 goal. Some key takeaways from their event, they ran multiple appeals throughout their live stream, and they also used a live update screencast to showcase donations as they came in. So they pulled up their text fundraising keyword, their short code, and instructions on how to donate up on a screen. They showed their fundraising thermometer, and they also included a scrolling banner at the bottom with names of donors as they made their donation. So there's that instant public recognition. Their text fundraising keyword and number were also present on the home page of their event with an impact appeal that explained to donors how their donation would be used. So whenever they went to register, donors were already aware that text fundraising was an option for them to give to the organization, and all of the information was right there so they could get started on giving. Junior Achievement also knew that text fundraising is really good for reaching out to donors for those time-sensitive appeals. So they made one final push at the end of the night, which helped them exceed their goal. So let's talk a little bit about QGive's text fundraising tools. With our text fundraising package, our text fundraising package includes text to donate, which is a form-based text fundraising method. So donors will initiate their gift via text before visiting a mobile form to complete their donation. This means you can use custom keywords, So you can personalize your keyword to go with your organization's mission or your identity. And you can also use a new custom keyword for every single campaign or event. Also include outbound messaging, so you can communicate with your donors during events and beyond simple donation appeals. So the example here is an event reminder: hey, our gala is coming up tomorrow at 7 p.m. Don't forget, we're excited to see you there. We also include contact lists. This is basically what some people might say is a subscription. So you can text a keyword that will add your donor to a contact list, and then they get the information that you send out through that contact list. And it's only the kind of information that they've opted in to receive. You also have pledges. So at any of your engaging events, it's really super easy for you and your donors to get caught up in conversations or excitement. So pledges mean that your donors can still show their support and their intention to donate, and then actually complete their donation later. So to help them complete that donation later, we also have those automatic reminder messages. So your donor made a pledge during your event, didn't finish the donation. Here's that gentle nudge, that gentle reminder to follow through, complete their donation. We also include that FundHub Live. So it's that live screencast where you can add the information for your keyword, your short code, how to actually use text fundraising, include that fundraising thermometer so that donors can keep track of the progress of your fundraising at your event, and also that live activity feed where donors can see their name up there and see the donation that they've made has been received. This is really, really great for fundraising events. So thank you to everybody for joining today. We're going to get to Q&A in a moment, but first, earlier this year, QGive joined the Bloomerang team to offer a modern giving platform that puts relationships at the heart of fundraising. This combined solution unifies your donors' activities, giving you the power to acquire new donors, cultivate impactful relationships, and maximize the potential of your donor communities. So if you're interested in learning more and you're a QGive customer already, feel free to email us at support@qgive.com with any questions you have about QGive's online fundraising tools and the Bloomerang acquisition. If you're not a QGive client and you're just curious about using the QGive platform, it's really easy to request a demo. Just visit qgive.com/demo-request and fill out the form. And if you're looking for more best practices, text fundraising and beyond, visit qgive.com/blog and check out our collection of fundraising blogs and free resources. And now let's move on to our Q&A.
So I'd like to first say thank you everyone for all the great questions that we've had. There's been a lot coming through, so Brittany and I have been trying to get to all of them as they've come through. So the first one that I want to go back to, Tiara, if you can actually bring the slides back up and take us back into the demo for the texting side. So make sure that when you're entering that keyword, that QGive demo text is all one keyword and that it doesn't autocorrect, because that will that'll mess up the text to donate process. We've already been talking about how like we can shorten that for ourselves. We realize that we got to shorten that as well so that it makes it easier on all of you when you're testing that. But please make sure that you're texting that QGive demo text, all one word, to 50155. Then you can utilize the demo credit card information here and expiration date and all that. So we've had a ton of questions that have been coming through that we've been trying to answer. And there's a couple that I want to go ahead and get everyone so that everyone can know about them. So the first one is the contact lists. So we've had a couple of questions about if that's available and if you can like upload a list of donors into the system, and you can absolutely do that. With our text fundraising package, you can set up different contact lists, as Tiara mentioned, and then you can even upload donor lists directly into the system and tie them to those different contact lists so that you can utilize the outbound messaging feature that we have and send to that specific list. So you can absolutely do that. It's a very great way to segment different donors, whether it's tied to your event that you have coming up, or if it's tied to one of your year-round campaigns or recurring giving, however you go about it, like it's a great way to use that and to segment your different donor databases. So some of the other questions that we've seen coming through. So can we eliminate the name portion to make this even easier to communicate for donors to give? So Leah, I'm wondering if you're asking about in this text example here where it says QGIV demo text plus donation about plus name, you don't have to require the name portion. So you can absolutely, yeah, so that you don't have to include that with the message that comes through. So if you actually notice, if you decided to utilize the demo itself there, QGIV demo text plus the donation amount, you don't actually have to enter your name. Essentially, what the name does is it allows for your donors to attach their name, and with the text fundraising package, you get access to a Fund Hub Live. So when you are on site at your events, your donors can be recognized for their contribution to your organization, should they so want to share their name. Otherwise, it'll just come through as a donation amount, as you see here. Thank you, Tiara.
Yeah.
Yep, that's where it would be. That was exactly where it would populate. And you will still get the donor information in the QGIF system when they enter in like their billing details and things like that. So you'll at least have that access to it. Oh, you can see me there donating. Brittany, as you were going through, did you see any other questions that you wanted to address in the live portion? Because we've had absolutely a ton of
Currently
questions, and I
answering
love it.
some in the
Yeah.
chat, actually. Sorry, let me just finish Aaron's question. As
Yeah.
far as anything that I wanted to call out, we've had so many great questions this go around. Setting up different groups within text fundraising, yes, you can create different contact lists to send different messaging to. I think that's definitely a big one to touch on. You basically can create your own subscription or contact list and then send messages based off of that. One that I wanted to call out for our text fundraising, in addition to our auction package specifically, because Rachel had a great question about if those are automatically segmented. Right now we have a group of segmented lists that are already pre-existing and pre-populated for our auction platform when sending those outbound messages. She had some great ideas for some stuff to add, so we'll definitely be getting enhancements in, but that is a brand new feature that we just launched for the auction platform and the text fundraising. So if you are using an auction with QGIV, definitely check that out.
So Amber, I'm about to reply to you, but you can absolutely edit this page to match the style of your branding. You can customize the layout that you see here. So essentially what this is what you call a WYSIWYG editor. So it's a what you see is what you get. So you can organize the layout here. You can drag and drop like the recent activity and move it around. You can add in the thermometer and change the colors to it. So you can absolutely edit all of this to your desire. Another one that I wanted to call out. I know that we talked a lot about events today, but text fundraising is not just limited to the event side. So Timothy, thank you for your question on, can you use text fundraising for something that is not an event? And you can absolutely do that. You can use that in any of your year-round campaigns that you have going on. You can use that on Giving Tuesday, any other giving day that you want to associate with. Even if you're just running a campaign for trying to encourage more donations in general, or if you have a specific theme, you can absolutely use text fundraising. It's a very versatile tool, and it really fits into any fundraising strategy. So I see Brittany answering that question. Does anybody else have any other questions? We've gotten a lot, so really exciting to see. Cool. Tiara, want to wrap it up?
Yeah, well, yeah, thank you guys so much for joining today. I really hope that you found this webinar super helpful, and hopefully we'll see you at one of our next webinars. So thank you so much. Have a great Tuesday.